Hi everybody, it's Claire back with a second project for the Scrap FX design team. So again I'm playing in the craft junk journal kit, and here I'm just spreading some white gesso, which actually was an accident. I picked it up thinking it was the clear gesso and it came out really fast. I was like, oh no. So I decided I would just rub it onto the page with some kitchen roll, and I rubbed it once and then again. I used a baby white and took some of the excess off, and actually I quite liked what it did to the page because you were still able to see the dots through it, so it wasn't such a disaster after all. So panic not, Claire, it was all fine. So then I'm using Dina Wakley lime and adding a bit of that onto my page using a dry brush. So that's my first colour. And then I'm going to go in, as I think I've mentioned before, so a lot of my bottles are getting a bit clogged. So what I do is I just pull the nozzle out and then just use them without the nozzle. It doesn't really matter too much, I guess. So then once I've spread that around, I'm then going to go in with fur and add a little bit of that onto my page, and just blend that in. Actually, I think that's evergreen. I think I might be telling a fib. Yes, it is evergreen. So I'm just adding a little bit of that, blending it in at the top and the bottom of the page as well. So next I'm using sage, and I'm using the blending tool, and I decided I was, sorry, that's the dog just contributing. Stop, shh. I decided I would use the circle as a tool to just print some circles onto my page. So I got the paint on my blending tool and then just daubed it on just to create those circle shapes. Then this is the Dream Phrases collage paper, also from Scrap FX, and I'm going to stick that in place using some gel medium, some matte medium, just to add a little bit of text onto my page, just to break up that background that I've already created. So once those were dry and I'd added a few pieces of that collage paper on, I'm then using the flower head stamp, and I'm using some archival inks in like a really dark green and a lighter green, and I'm just stamping some of these shapes onto my page, again just to add some more pattern and interest onto the page too. Here I'm just masking off the page on the other side just so that I can get a part of the stamped image on my page rather than the whole of it, and I didn't want to accidentally stamp the image onto the page that I'd done on the other side either, so just masking it off was a good way to do that. So these are the patchwork feathers from the collage sheet from Scrap FX, new for this month, and I've chosen 3 of the feathers that they've all got a little bit of pink in them, and it works as a really great contrast against the green background. So here I'm just faffing about, trying different places to put the feathers, seeing what works, because I knew I wanted some space to add some words onto my page as well. So I knew that I needed to get them on there somehow so that I could still write, and it took me a little while to kind of work out what was going to work best. I'll get there eventually. So once I'd finished auditioning the feathers and deciding where they were going to go, I'm then sticking them in place using a glue stick. And so I'm sticking them 2 at the bottom, 1 at the top, again using 3 because that odd number of things on the page of focal points works really well. Then it was time to add some dots at the bottom of the page as well. So and at the top as well. So wherever the images that I've stuck on touch the bottom on top of the page, that's where I tend to add a few dots. Use both a Posca pen and sometimes I use a Signo Uniball because it creates a slightly smaller dot. So you get a nice variation in the dots, the mark making that you can make. Here I'm just using a Tombow marker in a light grey just to add a little bit of shadow onto one side of these feathers that I've stuck onto my page. Again, that just helps to pop them out from the background, makes them stand out a little bit better. And then I am going to be using a Posca pen to add my words onto my page. And then just to finish off, I'm just going to add a sketchy border around the edge of my page, just using a Posca pen, holding it quite lightly. I'm not worrying about the lines being straight. In fact, the more wobbly they are, the better, because I'm going to go in with 2 lines and it creates that kind of nice, almost like an artistic way of just finishing it off so it doesn't look too perfect. I quite like that look as well. And that kind of finishes this page off quite nicely. So I hope you've enjoyed watching me creating using these feathers from the new collage paper from Scrap FX, faffing about trying to find out where they would work best. Yeah, so I hope it's inspired you to have a go. Thanks for watching and I hope to see you again soon.